The idea behind today's video is just to talk quickly about some effective band techniques and exercise tube techniques that you can use with your clients. These are actually exercise tubes because they have handles. Bands will not have handles to look like giant rubber bands. When you're working with the bands, there's four main ways that you can use them. There's kind of in terms of the actual tempo. There's the normal style, which is simply where you just lift both hands or both feet going at the same time. Okay, so this is the classic style, just showing you with a row. Then there's alternating easy. This is where you'll have one hand will do the lifting, but then the other arm will stay in the unloaded position, and then you will alternate. So one goes, then you alternate to the other one, but the hand is in the easy position. And this is easier than the normal style that I just demonstrated. If you want to up the intensity, usually a problem with the bands is they're not hard enough, so we want to make them actually a little bit harder. So what we'll do here is we'll actually pull both, and then we'll keep one hand in the loaded position, the other hand will do the lift, then that will stay in the loaded position, and then you alternate. So this is alternating hard. This is more challenging than both of the previous positions. And then finally, if you want to kind of pick the speed up, get a little more increased heart rate, a little more cardio, do a few more reps, you can do exchanging. Exchanging is where you will have one arm will pass the other one. So as one's doing the concentric, the other's doing the eccentric, and they go back and forth like this. So you tend to go a little faster, get a little more rotation in the core. That's exchanging style. The alternating hard is the hardest of the four. Now bands in general are a little bit too easy for most people, so we need to have a few trips and techniques to make them a little bit more challenging. So what we want to do here is a couple things. Obviously, number one, we can just back up. The farther we go away, the more tension there is. Another alternative would be you can loop the band around whatever structure you've anchored it to. The shorter the band will then generate more tension. If I was working with a personal trainer and that personal trainer was where the column was, the trainer could actually pull back as I'm doing it to generate more resistance. A good thing to keep in mind that you always have an option for is if you're using especially like a bigger muscle, is simply just double it up. Of course you can use two bands, but simply put two handles in one and then go, and now we're looking at double the resistance. Okay, you can also tie knots in the bands to shorten this up, and so as you have the knots, then that will create more tension. If you want, you can do pre-exhaustion. For example, I could do kind of like a shoulder extension first, then go right into a row to fatigue, whatever specific muscle you're working. So there's lots of little ways to make it harder. Of course, you can do the opposite of all those things I just mentioned to make it easier. But good tools to have, especially for clients that travel a lot,